Ladies and gentlemen, we face a crisis in our nation today. Our country is 233 years old, and this might be the final year of our democracy as we know it. Ladies and gentlemen, democracy will not survive, and that's not an exaggeration, folks. That's the facts. Listen, it seems like what we're saying is that there's really no choice but to vote for the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is the embodiment of democracy. And so it sounds really stupid, but it's the truth. It's true. We have no choice. We're coming up against the extra ultimate, extra rich, extra creamy MAGA Republicans. They're going to steal your wives, your mothers, your children. You better run. He gonna get you. Ladies and gentlemen, they're there to suppress our votes. They're there to take away the right of voters because voters aren't smart enough to get a voter ID, especially, those folks that live in the South, have more melanin in their skin, Since we, as Democrats, consider us the elite and you all the deplorables, even Stacey Abrams said that, misinformation against the black man. Even the black women now are shunning their men because they're starting to think. Sorry, I was getting snarky and now I'm preaching. But ladies and gentlemen, you have to vote because democracy is at stake. That's like saying people vote because voting's at stake. Well, the very act of voting is that which you are suggesting is in danger. That does not make any sense. Think about it. Anyway, you hear what I'm saying. It's not a choice. You have to vote Democrat or the world is going to end. You don't believe me? Just listen.
For joining us.
American democracy, which is now 233 years old and might be in its final year of life. Because in next week's election, democracy as we know it may not survive.
Democracy's at stake in this election. Democracy as we know it may not survive. It's not an exaggeration. That is a fact.
The pitch from Democrats is basically, if you care about democracy, you've got no choice but to vote for us. And that on its face sounds almost anti-democratic itself to say you don't have a choice. But it also happens to be true.
Our democracy is at risk, that our democracy is under threat. The extreme MAGA element of the Republican Party, which is trying to succeed where they failed in 2020, to suppress the right of voters and subvert the electoral system itself.
Okay, well, look, Republicans are surging. We all know.
Folks, I might be considered one of those election deniers or voter deniers, I guess, because I have legitimate questions about the legitimacy of the votes and how it was handled and how laws, or I should say decisions were made that were against the law outside the state legislature authority. And the last election, and I think history will vet this out, our 2020 presidential election was unconstitutional. Where do we go from here? I don't know. Why was I think it's unconstitutional? Because you even have Kamala Harris saying that she was sitting in the same room and watched those Dominion machines getting hacked in front of her eyes. Everybody knows this. I was in I won't tell you, but I was going to tell a story about me talking to Bank of America folks. I said, I said you want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I said a 17-year-old kid could hack into a system, and you expect me to believe that, a manager couldn't do something for me. You had a bunch of ballots that were only checked in for the president. They weren't creased. Their argument was, Republicans want everything else or whatever, or the issue is they brought in a bunch of just presidential ballots, nothing else checked, so it didn't coincide with a, say, Democratic blue wave. See, there was just something very fishy. Even mathematics doesn't work. I just have questions. I'm not denying it. Biden is my president, regardless of the way I think about it right now. But I have sincere questions. There was too much haste, too much don't look here. It's a mess. And they tried to do everything in their power to get Trump out of office. And this was literally the logical thing. I've lots to say about it, but call me an election denier. That's fine. But I actually am just an election questioner, because why? Democracy is at stake. When the people don't trust, 70 million people don't trust the election, or 50 million, I think, about 50 million Trump voter supporters like myself. We don't really have confidence that reflects the vote cast by the people. Prove me wrong. I'm not ashamed of correcting myself. Anyway, I digest.
That, but we see some really hilarious coping mechanisms going on right now in the media. Greg Sargent, a dim bulb at the Washington Post, lamented today that why isn't Trumpism hurting the GOP? Why hasn't the threat to democracy extracted a heavier price from Republicans? Joining me now is Sean Duffy, former Wisconsin Congressman, Fox News contributor Monica Crowley, former Trump Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, host of the Monica Crowley podcast, and Raymond Arroyo, Fox News contributor and author of the huge bestseller, The Wise Men Who Found Christmas. Monica, it turns out that the voters do not believe that if the Democrats lose en masse on Tuesday, that our country will crumble at its very foundations. They actually don't seem to believe that. Shocking.
That's exactly right. And I think most Americans, having gone through this historic catastrophe of the Biden presidency and unified Democratic control for the last 2 years, we've all seen and experienced the fallout of that. I think most voters understand that this election can't simply be a message election or even just a red wave or red tsunami. This, for the Democrats, needs to be an extinction level event. We need to wipe them out. You know, they've spent a lot of time, Laura, trying to take the Republican Party and crush it and crush the populist America First movement to try to make us into the permanent minority. Well, now it's our turn. We need to crush them so that they will not achieve power again for a very long time.
Sean, what I'm worried about here is that the language that the Democrats are using is actually risking inciting violence, because what they're saying is it's over. They're going to be dictators. They're going to put your children in jail. They're going to, I mean, the hyperventilation on the part of the left, it's almost like they're inviting their Antifa type folks to go violent if the Republicans sweep in on Tuesday, which I believe they will.
Or little old ladies who are out walking doors for Republicans passing out literature, they get shot. But I think, remember Republicans, you know, some of them used to say that once Donald Trump is gone, the energy is going to come down, the Democrats are going to go back to normal. But Donald Trump always said, they're not coming for me, they're coming for all of you. And you can see with this language, they're coming after Republican candidates, they're coming after Republican voters. And this is about the complete transformation of America. They need a one-party rule to do that. So they have to demonize all of us to make sure that you're not allowed in civilized society.
Now, Raymond, it always stuns me when the Democrats believe a big turnout of Hollywood elites is going to help, or in this case, Montecito elites, with Oprah in Pennsylvania. So she and Oz were like this.
Yeah.
Be Raymond, like if you ran for governor of Louisiana, and I said, yeah, I'm going to endorse the other guy. Like, what? What was that?
I would issue a press release, as Oz did, that said, I love Oprah. We're very close.
I love Laura, but
yeah. I mean, look, Oprah endorsing Fetterman at this point is like Sally Jesse Raphael endorsing Fetterman. I mean, she's kind of a throwback. I mean, now if Tyler Perry came out and endorsed him, that would be different.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a game changer. Look, they're worried about Hispanic and black voters in Pennsylvania. The Democrats need those voters. They'll do anything to rally them. But John Fetterman, for him to fall on Oprah, if Oprah is all that stands between him and the Senate position, he's lost. I mean, it's just not going to work, particularly on a day when Biden said, I want to shut down all coal mining in the United States, all coal plants.
Does anyone think he really, does anyone on this panel really quick, do you think he understands how much coal still actually fuels and powers in it? Do you think he understands?
Listen, I don't think he wrote the stuff, right? If someone else is writing it for him, the little green nut jobs in the White House, they write it up. He just
yes,
says
no.
it.
Does he understand that 22% of our energy comes from coal?
He does understand it, and he rejects it.
Really? You think
Yes.
he's that
Yes.
sentient of a
I
human
think
being?
he believes Santa has lots of coal and he can always bring it to him if he runs out.
All right.
I
Panel,
don't know.
hang out, because we're going to see you a little bit later on in the hour. And ahead, New York Democrats are now telling CNN they're bracing for what could be a stunning loss in the governor's race. Lee Zeldin is here, live in studio next to tell us why that is. So stay there. All right, we're going to speak to Republican gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin in just a moment. But first, our very own Raymond Arroyo took to the streets of New York City, I don't know about this, to get the pulse of the people from all across the nation.
What is the number one issue driving your vote this midterm season?
I would say the economy. We have terrible inflation, and Phoenix is one of the highest in the country. I'm an economist.
The border.
Crime is out of control.
Definitely the economy and crime.
Everybody has to look over their shoulder, and you have to have your head on a swivel.
The prices of everything is going up. My credit card bill is going up. I have to charge everything.
My full-time job is now grocery shopping.
Wow.
I have to go to all the sites, pick out what's on sale, because I ain't buying it if it ain't on sale.
Abortion.
Abortion? Why?
Because it's a right, and it's being severely threatened.
Why abortion?
Because I do believe that it's a life. It's no matter what. At conception, it's a life.
Your reaction when you heard the president say this ultra-MAGA movement could destroy democracy?
Pissed me off. I can't say it on air, but it starts with bull. I mean,
Does it end with?
Yeah, it does. Yes, it absolutely does. Okay. No, it's not an end to democracy. Democracy is what we had. And it's been trying to be taken away from us, that our votes don't count. And by calling us names, especially in the South, all you doing is pushing my button. You push my button, make me mad, I'll get out and knock on doors and tell people, we got to vote this fool out.
Guys, you don't want to mess with these sisters.
No, they're hilarious. Raymond, that's so funny. I love it. All right, speaking of New York City, yesterday we told